They didn't think we would make it this long. They said it ain't gonna last. They said you might as well name your podcast the Ain't Gonna Last Podcast, but we still here.
I like that one. Did someone submit that? They ain't gonna last. Was that Matt?
No, but he was. If I would have asked him, that's what he would have said. Yeah. That's why I didn't even ask him.
They ain't gonna last. I'm sure he's probably told somebody that in the past couple of weeks. I think a podcast. They ain't gonna last.
I think that's probably why Claire is trying to keep us going.
Yeah. But speaking of like that, well,
they got a bet between themselves.
Yeah, but she's been really supporting that, getting a lot of comments and stuff on our YouTube videos, but a lot of text messages too. Besides that,
which we do appreciate. Way more text messages. I wish they'd be more public, but I'm gonna go ahead and have to start submitting those anonymously.
Yeah. My oldest brother Joe, he's been, every time he watches one of our podcasts or one of the videos, he'll text me like he's live chatting. And it'll be like a day or so after it's already aired, like in the middle like in the middle of my work day. And I'll look at my phone, I have like 15, 20 text messages from Joe. I'm like, what in the world? And I'll look and it's all like, there's no context. There's no. He's like in a conversation, and I realized, okay, I was like, hey, are you live chatting? Yeah. Like, okay, yeah. So we appreciate it. I even got a screenshot of someone watching it on their big screen. But they don't take very good pictures. It's like a big screen, but it's like this much of the screen, and it's kind of angled to a little bit. But I appreciate it. They're like, oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
It's like those real estate pictures where it's all dark in the room. Take a picture of the tree in the front yard, a park down the street.
Or a picture of a bedroom with just a headboard and the walls up. You don't see into the room at all. So... yeah, but we do appreciate it. We're having fun. I like it.
So with us still going, what's been going on with your family? How are you holding it down?
We're holding it down fine. I mean, the kids don't really realize what's going on at all. They just know they haven't been out in a while. They know they haven't seen a lot of their family in a while. And they're but for us, it's hard. I kind of actually just had a conversation with them the other day, like, hey, you know how sometimes you get sick? Well, there's people are sick, and we don't want anyone else to get sick, so that's why. And they just kind of like, oh, they don't really understand. But at least I'm trying to just have that conversation with them so they have some type of explanation from us. But other than that, we've been fine. I didn't realize. I kind of just recently realized how much accidentally I was prepared for a shelter in place, because some of the major things that I've noticed is people they're concerned about haircuts, right? Staying groomed, working out. I follow a lot of fitness channels, as you know, on YouTube, and all the videos are about like home workouts or no going to the gym, stuff like that. So in the past year and a half,
every week he asked me, hey, this week can I just show a workout on the podcast? No,
you wouldn't be impressed. But so about a year and a half ago in early January, in the past 2 years, right? I got 2 little boys now, so I would always go to the barbershop by my house to get my haircut. And then when I started taking my boys, it's adding up to like $50 or so a month, like on average, right? I think it's like $12 for a kid plus a tip, and then $15 for an adult plus a tip. So it was coming up like $50 a month. And so I was not even getting their haircut every few weeks like I was getting mine just because they're little. But it was starting to add up. And I was like, this is crazy. So I went and started cutting my own hair. I've been cutting my hair since January of 2019. Excuse me. And my boy's hair. So for the past year and a half almost, I've been cutting our own hair, which is like such a big deal now. People like, even my coworkers, hey, where'd you get your haircut, Seth? Where'd you get your haircut? Like, I do it myself. I'm like, oh yeah, you can tell, but
you lined yourself up fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, it looks good. I think I do a good enough job for the amount of money I'm saving. For doing it for free in my backyard in the comfort of my home, I'm satisfied with it. And then also last year, I as you know, we're just talking about, I have this fascination with fitness. But I have my own home gym. Like, I have a whole weight rack, barbells, different equipment, all kind of weights. I got a treadmill coming on Saturday. and that we got with our stimulus check.
Nice.
So all this stuff fell in place. And then last year I got a new job that is essential. I was doing like real estate and a retail job part-time. And I don't know where I would be in either of those jobs right now. Excuse me. In the current situation that we're in. But my job is essential, and I even just got a raise. I got a raise in January, and then I got a raise about a week ago. And I'll get that raise this week. Like my first check with that raise. So that's all this stuff happened, yeah. So it's not about me, but I contribute that or attribute that to the blessings of God and God's favor. So that if I can say anything, the Lord has had his hand upon me and my family. We're just tired of being home. But I'm doing okay. I'm not like stressing out like, when I get a haircut, when I get my next workout in, I just do it where I want.
You know who I think was obsessed with fitness too in the same way you are, the way I imagine? John the Baptist.
John the Baptist?
I just imagine him out there just in the woods, boy, just pumping iron, just doing burpees. No weights. He was one of those guys, no weights. He was just lifting up water jugs and stuff like that.
No cardio. No cardio.
He was just massive.
Just eating locusts and wild honey. How do you feel about being sheltered in place and no one going out? No one.
I love it.
Really?
Yes. Because no popping.
What do you mean?
Yeah, nobody just pops into your house. They have to be at home.
Right.
Actually, no, we did do that. We did a pop in. We went to my aunt's house unannounced because we knew if we announced or texted, she would say no. So we busted a pop in. She was so mad. Oh, she was irate.
Oh, boy.
But I'm liking it. I'm loving it. My wife's home with the baby, hanging out 8, 10, 12, really 22 hours a day.
Why is 22 hours a day?
She's up the entire time, mostly.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll pitch in 3 hours here and there.
Well, because you're working full time, right?
Yes.
40 hours a week, so, as am I. So that kind of helps. I don't know what it'd be like if I was just home all day.
Oh, just making YouTube videos, eating donuts, milk.
Yeah, we'd have about 2 or 3 podcasts per day per week, baby. But
that's it. Just
and you cut your own hair too, right?
Oh, I've been cutting my own hair since I was 12 years old. Wow. Shaving it bald for about 4. And then, I'm good to go. Somebody asked me at work the other day, "Oh, Jose got a fade too? Oh, that's clean. Where'd you get that?" My bathroom. It's all right. You just tell me how good it was until you told me. Right. Until I told you I did it in my bathroom.
People hate on you when they find out you're doing it yourself.
Okay. Yeah, that's all right.
So
I dress myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shower myself.
Good job, mijo. Big.
Speaking of that thing that's got everybody in, in place, the thing you can't say, you can't speak about. Yeah, the thing. You were talking about how some doctors have figured out, wait, this thing's it's not really clicking. It's not making sense when you're looking at the facts and you're looking at the numbers. And what is it? Vertigo is when your eyes and ears disagree. Mm-hmm. So you become dizzy and kind of confused, gives you a little bit of a headache. I think it's the same way with what's going on. So the things that we hear, like this many people are dying, it's this bad. Mm-hmm. You need to be here. You need to do this. This is how you need to protect yourself, and wear gloves and wear a mask and stay away. And it's so bad. It's getting worse. It's even worse versus what I see is like, wait, hold up. There's hardly anybody sick. Everybody's out at the park. Everybody's together. But you had some better insight on that.
There's a video online. Anybody can find it. These 2 doctors, they own a chain or I guess a line of urgent care facilities in Bakersfield, Kern County, in California. And Dr. Erickson and Dr. Mahani, I forget the guy's last name. Anyways, they are like 20 plus years in the field of microbiology, studying viruses, studying the immune system and all that stuff. That's like what they specialize in. Mm-hmm. And so they have like a press conference for there in Bakersfield in Kern County with a couple of local news stations. And they break down basically how initially the lockdowns seemed appropriate, even though they say it's never happened before. There's never been a response to any type of pandemic before like this. But they said, okay, that's fine. We'll just go with it. And oh, by the way, they also do testings. That's why they're really involved. They have their own numbers. I think they've tested over 5,000 people, and only 6% of the 5,000 they have tested have come back positive for
the thing.
The other thing, yeah. So, anyways, they've extrapolated that to say that it's like millions of people will actually have the virus in California, in the United States, in the world, and a very small percentage, like 0.01 in some places to 0.1, right? So a very small percentage, and they concluded that it's just about it has the same mortality rate as like the flu, and the same rate of deaths. They said in 17 and 18, the flu season, it killed up to almost like 50 to 60,000 people. The influenza did in the United States.
Yeah.
No lockdowns, no shutdowns, no talks about it at all. And these are, I mean, again, you can find this online. Just Google it, Dr. Erickson, Accelerate Urgent Care in Kern County, and you'll find their video. It's like a 50-minute video, and they break it down. But again, they're saying with the numbers and the research they've done with their own testing, and then taking all the data from the CDC and all the health organizations around the world, consistently across the board, the trajectory of infections and the way it has declined is the same, like almost the same, within countries that did no shelter in place, like very little mitigation, compared to even the U.S., where we have like very strong mitigation, and parts of Europe, France and Germany and Italy, even Spain now too has a really bad case. Brazil did nothing like that. Japan did a little bit. Sweden did like nothing. They didn't shut down any bars, restaurants, sporting facilities, activities. Everyone went to school, and they're now on the decline. They're on the decline. They ain't gonna last. So they're just saying like it. None of it makes sense. There's nothing consistent. They even talked about how you can go into a store, but the guy's like, he's like, I can go to Lowe's and shop with a bunch of different people and be next to somebody while I'm trying to grab a shovel, but I can't go to Rio Cafe right here across the street and grab a coffee for 10 minutes and sit there, maybe 10 feet from the next person. So it doesn't make any sense. There's no consistency there. It doesn't. He's like, if they're going to do a shelter in place, it should just be a shelter in place if you really want to do that. And another thing they talked about is that being sheltered like this, your immune system has to be exposed to other bacteria and viruses. Not all of them, they say, are bad. Your body builds immunity to them. So the longer we're sheltered like this, our immune systems will actually begin to decline and get weaker. And they said that once it opens back up and people are back out in the public, you're going to see a outbreak in not only just the virus, but a bunch of different things. People are just going to get sick, cold, flus, whatever, because we've been home, and especially kids, they've just been home away from school. That's like you got to play in dirt. They talk about how babies, they put stuff in their mouth, they touch everything all the time. That's how you're building your immune system. And by doing this, we're weakening our immune systems. This is all from the doctors. Again, Dr. Erickson, and I think his name's Mahini, something like that. So it is like what you're saying. They're saying the same thing. What they're telling us and what we see in their data and in the data around the world, it doesn't line up. It doesn't match up. All the models, they're not really lining up. So the reporter asked him, "Do you think we should be out of shelter? Like we should be out?" He's like, "Yes." We both agree adamantly, yes. That, and he's like, yes, you should be able to go back to work. People should be able to go out and be back in public in order for us to actually build immunities to it. So it's really fascinating. I recommend anyone to pull it up and just, it's about 50 minutes, and I think it'll be worth your time just to hear it.
That makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
And so just to clarify, if you know anybody or heard anybody or have any contact with anybody that's been sick with this or lost anybody to it, I'm not trying to convince you that it wasn't this.
Exactly.
I'm just saying the way that they're pumping it up is it's not affected as many people as they want us to think. It seems like to me from what I'm seeing and hearing, and I'm trying to figure out, do I know anybody that's been affected by this? And I can't. Can you reach out to somebody that's been? And I can't.
I do know a guy who said the other day, a guy that I work with, he is friends with the guy that works at the Save Mart or the Safeway warehouse in Tracy. And he said he
Save Mart shopping center
over there in the Big Boy shopping center. Oh no, but in the Safeway in Tracy, they had like a little outbreak of it. I guess about 50 people, And he said he called his friend just to see how he was doing because he knew he worked there, hadn't talked to him in a couple months. And he's like, hey, can you FaceTime me? He's like, yeah. So he said he like pulled him up on the phone and he's in the hospital. He's like, I got it, man. So like that's the closest to me that I know, you know? And again, not that it's not real, but you will have instances of it. It is a real thing. To me, it just seems like, what's really going on? You know, what is really going on? Why are they making it such a big deal? Like it's a tidal wave coming. And you're just watching it come to shore, and you can't even run away fast enough. Right. It's like, oh no, you know, like it's just an inevitable thing. I relate it to this. This is an analogy I use. I don't know if I told you or whatever. I believe the break-ins happen right in your neighborhood. In my neighborhood, I've had our cars going through one time before when we first moved into our house. And there are people who break in home, stuff like that, and it's a real threat. But I don't like sleep on my couch with a gun facing my front door. You know? Anymore, yeah. But God, anticipating that this thing's just gonna happen. You know, it can happen. It does happen. But I'm not gonna live my life like this. You know, that's me. I'm not criticizing anyone else for feeling that way or feeling nervous about it. If you have an some type of deficiency in your immune system that would make you susceptible to it, of course. But they're saying why you don't quarantine healthy people, you quarantine sick people or those who are at higher risk. Quarantine everyone doesn't make sense because those are the people who are actually going to help us beat the virus, as opposed to everyone just staying away.
Not enough people were getting sick, right? And people were kind of responding by going out and not obeying shelter in place. And so then it went from it's living on the surfaces and it's transferred by touch. So that's why you need to be away from people to it's in the air.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's in the air. And like, wait, what happened? Wait, how did it go from surface touch to now it's in the air? Why is it evolving?
Asymptomatic.
Yeah, you won't even, you'll feel absolutely normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
let me real quick. I don't know for sure. I just was doing one night, like trying to look up, Googling, like what viruses are asymptomatic. And then what I found, and this is just me doing a Google search, right? So this isn't like a high level.
You are the best Google searcher I know.
So anyways, most of the viruses that have people who are asymptomatic are typically STDs. Herpes, other things like that. There's very few viruses that are asymptomatic at this high level where like, you know, and that's just what I found. Again, I'm not a doctor, so don't take that. We'll take that with a huge.
But you do watch a lot of fitness videos.
Yeah, I do. Right. So if you want to,
and you have your own gym.
Yeah. If you want to strengthen your lower back, I can help. Anecdotally, I've done it. I've fixed my own lower back. But I'm just saying, you know, again, that's a Google search. Me just, you know, on my computer, whatever, trying to look at stuff like how many diseases are really asymptomatic, and as far as viruses or viral diseases, and there's not too many. It's definitely not like in this category. But anyways, go on. You were still saying.
But I think I was done.
Okay.
But it was just interesting to me that the less people responded to the initial directions, the more that the virus changed the way it moved and acted and affected people. And when people didn't really respond to that, then it kind of changed. It seemed a lot more like fear tactics than anything. Yeah. But then again, I'm not saying it's not real and it's not affecting people. I'm just this is what's happening in the news.
Yeah.
For somebody that reacted to this thing in an extreme way, we initially talked about Tony Spell, Pastor Spell, and how he stood against in defiance and said, you know what, we're not doing any of this shelter in place. I'm not shutting the church down. We're still rolling. Yeah. Let's go 5,000, 10,000. I don't remember how much it was. We're still doing it. So that was 4 weeks ago, and a lot has happened since then. If you haven't been following up on that story, you need to go check it out. Just YouTube the guy.
Oh, he's everywhere now.
He's everywhere. You're gonna find it on
Dr. Phil.
Really?
Yeah, he was on Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil, Oprah, Geraldo,
Sally Jesse, anybody.
But so what's going on with him?
So
Judge Judy, Joe Brown,
Keenan Ivory Wayans,
Sinbad, Magic Johnson.
What happened? He about a week ago, there was a protester. There's like one lone protester out there. You see the video clip, just one guy out there. Come on, man. You don't got 2 or 3 other friends that you can just go out there.
He didn't even have Little Caesars moves.
No. He's just out there with one, and he's been out there, I guess, for a while though, being consistent with his protesting. So Pastor Spell jumps into one of the church buses. I think he was just either dropping off or going to pick up some people, and he backs up like and stops short of the guy, like flinch. I don't think he was gonna hit him. I think it's evident in the video. You see it. He just like puts the gas on a little bit, and it's not even that fast. It's more like, it's like an Austin Powers, watch out! When the big steamroller in Austin Powers, when that guy's screaming about the steamroller about to get him.
Never heard of him.
Oh, come on. Okay. So anyways, it's not like the guy has to jump out of the way. It's just he sees it coming, then he stops. Then that's it. Like, that's the whole thing. But he got charged for attempted manslaughter or attempted manslaughter with a deadly weapon, something like that. And he was arrested for that. Got put on house arrest. And this Sunday, he shows up to church with his ankle bracelet on, preaching gospel. Oh man, oh, it's so tight. My favorite part is I love stuff like this. I love what he's doing. I appreciate what he's doing and standing for his beliefs. But the jerk in me likes how people are so upset about him. I like how people are getting all, oh my, they're all upset about what he's doing. Other Christian friends of mine, even other people within the faith, they're like, they're appalled, they're upset, they're embarrassed, trying to defend him and his actions.
You've come too far to stop now.
Yeah.
Look, it's already this bad. Yeah. I might as well get my money's worth. Yeah. It's like when you get in trouble, like, you know what, dude, when I get home, I'm going to get it. Like, I'm going to, if I'm going to get that belt, I'm going to make sure I deserve it. I'm going to get my money's worth.
But a part of it too is like, this isn't what he was referring to when John the Baptist says, like, what'd you expect to see? Or is it Jesus who said this? Like a reed?
Jesus, yeah.
Okay. He's talking about John the Baptist though, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's like, what'd you expect to see? Like a reed shaking in the wind? Like, you come out into like the middle of nowhere with trees everywhere and it's a windy day, you're going to see reeds shaking. Like, if that's like, duh, in a way, I think that's kind of the context, not into this, but correct me if I'm wrong. But anyways, isn't that the kind of the point Jesus is making about John the Baptist? Like,
I think what he's saying is, what did you guys, the Pharisees, get all dressed up to come out into the woods for? He's saying it's not to go see leaves blowing in the wind.
Okay.
You only came out to see what's going on with this guy.
Okay. Well, even then, that still kind of fits. Like, if you're going to keep on watching this guy and give him all this attention, this guy, I should say, this pastor, this preacher, if you're going to keep on giving him all this attention, you don't act all shocked when he shows you what you want to see. With this whole situation with Pastor Spell, what I'm getting a kick out of is everyone being all shocked and appalled and I can't believe he did that. I don't know this man personally at all, but I feel like he's kind of giving people what they want to a certain extent, And well, what'd you guys expect? You're giving this guy national attention. You're giving him a platform to really show who he is. And I mean, he's showing up, and his saints are still there, and they got signs. I support Pastor Spell. So, and I keep on. I have some friends I'm in a text group with, and every time they show me something about him, I just text back #Team Spell. like they're gonna tell me something, I'm gonna go, oh, no way, I mean, the whole bus thing, when they first sent it to me, because some people are sending me this. Now, I'll find out maybe through a text message first. And then I'll be like, do you see what Pastor Spell did? And they'll watch the clip, and I'm like, oh, that's tight. And I'll wait to respond to anything else until they start like, well, then we get in discussion about it. I mean, I don't condone, threatening people with cars and vehicles, but like, hey, man, I'm watching the show, man. This is cool. Someone's got to do it. I've said this before, but someone's got to stand up and not let them just kind of walk all over us. I think there's certain people who have the grit, the type of personality,
like
the support
pit bull.
Yeah, like he's the guy who's doing it. So I'm not against him at all. Even at this point, I said I was going to kind of wait and see. I'm kind of just like, yeah. What's going to do next? What's going to do next? I like
just
it.
Enjoying the show. I'm glad it's not me, but it's nice to see.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about this. Revelation 19, verse number 11. Bible reads, "And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon it was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he does judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and his head were many crowns, or on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a robe dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean." My question is this. Do you believe this verse here on these white horses to be literal white horses?
I've never even thought about that. I mean, yes. Okay, up until this point, yes. I've never even thought, wait, these aren't real white horses, are they? But I don't know. I mean,
think about it. So all of Revelation, or most of it anyway, is all imagery. You're talking about, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. You're talking about this dragon that, spews out an ocean and chases a woman and her child, and a dragon coming out of the sea, and all these, everything's all imagery. Yeah. Talking about the lamb coming from the throne, being slain and returning back to the throne. Imagery.
7 heads, and one head had 7 more heads.
Right. Yeah. So, and the beast and all these things. So everything's all imagery. So to me, I'm like, well, if everything else is imagery and a lot of the stuff is not literal, it's you're taking words and saying, and it's representing something, because John's writing, he's having a vision. He's basically in a, like I don't want to say a dream, but he's in the spirit. He's caught up in the spirit, and he's getting these visions. He's writing them down the best he could. And so he's seeing things, and the things that he's seeing, he's doing his best to write down for interpretation. It's just all imagery. So with everything being imagery, I don't see why this one verse would be literal, because like the other things I would think of in the Bible. So the flood, we know, like, wait, do you believe that a literal flood? Yes, absolutely. All religions and cultures have an account of the flood. Yeah. And that makes it like, if 50 people in the room testify to what happened and they all share the same story, then this is probably what happened. Yeah. Jonah in the belly of the fish, it's out there, but yeah, I believe it. God, I mean, he's done miraculous things. Why not? Mm-hmm. Do I believe that to be a literal fish? Yes, I do. But this one here, literal white horses, is I don't see it. If we're raptured away, we're not taken away on a horse. I mean, we're zooming through outer space, like at the speed of light. Yeah. And then returning on these horses. Like, what are the horses galloping on through outer space? There's
what are the Pegasuses?
yeah, they would have to have wings. And
I mean, they don't have to have wings. It is God. We're not going to have wings when we're raptured away.
But yeah, so I don't think it's literal horses. Like either they're galloping, or it's like the carousel at Great America, where they're all on these white poles.
Well, that's the alternative. I'd rather ride the wild.
And how fast are these horses going? Because you got to get from the other side of outer space down to Earth, and how long is this journey going to take?
Are we going to be skilled? We're going to be known as we are. Does that mean I take the same skills with me? Right. I've rode a horse before, and it wasn't the best experience. Like, remember in The Matrix, right? When they load them up And Morpheus Morpheus was like, oh, and he's like, oh, how do you feel? He's like, I know Kung Fu. Like, is that what's going to happen? We're like, I know how to ride a horse. Show me. So what do you think the vision is that he's seeing, or what the imagery represents of all these horses? If it's not literal horses, what would be the alternative? What is he seeing in... Because it's not even a form of technology. It's like a lot of people talk about fire and brimstone as like nuclear warfare, right? Because that's something he's seen that happen on Earth. But this is not an earthly thing or a temporal thing or a finite thing. This is coming from heaven. And like, is there a bunch of like white motorcycles?
Yeah, white Rolls Royce. Yeah, a bunch of white Harleys.
I mean, can we be like Silver Surfer and just come down?
That's probably like my closest. That's as close as I can imagine.
Now, I've always thought too, this whether like, are we gonna come down and be like super good at fighting and just start beating like, you know, like an awesome action sequence where it's all in slow motion? You know, we're just jacking people up left and right, you know, like, or do we come and then just God wipes them out, we're just standing aside.
Trying to catch up on this super slow carousel horse.
So, is this our fight right now? This is our battle time right now? And then we just get to kind of watch the end.
But so to me, I think it's about the color, the majesty, the power, representing all those things that you would feel on a horse. I think the other horses, like Jesus, he's on a white horse. I think it represents that power, that majesty, clothed in white linen, you know, the purity, the righteousness, the strength of God.
What about like, you know, Elijah was caught up in a chariot of fire. Was that a horse-drawn chariot? What's the things when the guy pulls him? When a person pulls him?
The little carts that a guy runs.
Yeah. Some dude with some big calves pulling him down the street. I mean, if it's chariot, like, so they describe it, that is an actual earthly vision, right? They see him taken up in a chariot of fire or caught in a chariot of fire. Is it just describing like this vehicle of fire picks him up and takes him away, just a chariot? Or is it like some horses with this chariot ablaze, and he jumps in. All right, guys, go! And they in a big old fire blaze.
Could have been either one of those, but then at the same time, like probably the fastest thing that they could ever see or imagine at that time was probably a chariot. Anyway, it's not.
Yeah. Have you ever?
It's hard being literal.
Have you ever rode a horse?
No.
No.
Wait, I've ridden an elephant. No horse though.
Okay, that's the same thing. Have you driven a car before? I've driven an 18-wheeler before. Well, so the reason I was thinking like, okay, I hope I can learn how to know automatically. If it is a literal horse, I hope I'm downloaded with all the skills to ride a horse, because I've been on a horse before. And it wasn't a bad experience. I mean, I knew how, like, okay, these horses are trained. Me and my wife went to some place by Monterey several years ago. I took her for her birthday. I think I don't forget which birthday it was, but I got a nice hotel out there. We spent like a week in there, and I wanted to do the horseback riding experience. And they ask you your weight, right? And so I'm like, are you over 250? I'm like, yeah, I still am. You know, now I didn't tell someone on the phone. I still am. Of course I'm over 250. So anyways, they're like, okay, well we're gonna make sure we have a bigger horse for you.
I'm not under 250 right now.
But you let me get my fighting weight. It'd be good with 220. But anyway, so they tell me, okay, we have to get a bigger horse for you then. Like, we'll make sure we have one lineup for you. So I get there and I see my wife's horse. It's like a good sized horse. Then they show me mine. It's this big old horse. I mean, she was huge. She was a girl horse, female. Her name was Honey. Beautiful, like all gold, like honey, right? So we get on our horses and we're and there's a guy who takes you. So you each get your own horse and then he takes you. There's a trail guide, whatever you call it. And so the first little part of the path, you have to be in single file line, right? So we're each like this. He's in the front, my wife's in the middle, then I'm in the back. Then it opens up and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to catch up and me and my wife are going to be riding side by side. Well, my horse never catches up. So my entire like mile long trek along the beach is me like 20 yards behind the tour guide and my wife riding a horse together talking, having a good time, and she'll look back like, hey. Or either the horse was too old or I was too big. And I would like try to kick here and there, and she would do it for like a minute, and then after she would stop, and slowly but surely we would do it like, oh man. And so I would just say like, oh yeah, you remember that time you and that guy had that nice horse ride on the beach? I did that for you for your birthday. So if it is horses, I hope I don't get honey. God bless her. I hope I get God makes me like 200 even once I get to heaven.
I would have to hitch it like, dude, can I ride on the back with you? Like you ride the horse. Let me just go to the Larez farm and get some lessons.
God, now I'm stuck on horses. Is there any like stories of the New Testament at all of anybody riding a horse showing up?
Jesus chose a donkey.
That's true. Snap.
He had the option too.
Yeah.
Let me see. This colt here or this donkey? I'll go with the donkey.
That's a trip. Oh, he's flipping the switch on us.
James, the son of Zebedee. So it's referring to when Jesus is selecting his first 12. Mm-hmm. And so they're listing them. It says James, the son of Zebedee, and John, the brother of James. And he surnamed them Boanerges, which is the sons of thunder. Great name. Mm-hmm. I would be on that podcast.
Yeah.
Sons of Thunder podcast.
Gosh, there's so many good names I think we passed up.
We rushed into this thing.
Still rather have God's favor.
When they went into a town to preach Jesus and the new gospel, they were rejected, and they came back out and they're all upset, and they tell Jesus, hey, should we call down fire from heaven the same way the old prophets did and just consume this entire place? I mean, they were heated, boy. They didn't have the Holy Ghost yet. So, I mean, they were just carnal that day. It happens to the best of us.
They got their Holy Ghost stirred up.
Yeah. And so, I mean, they were heated. Yeah. And so they asked Jesus, you want us to call down fire and just consume these entire people? And he's like, slow down, boy. Slow down for a minute.
Hold on there, Alonzo.
So that's the theory that's, kind of tradition is that, man, it's because of their attitude that they wanted to do that they were called the sons of thunder. But do you have a theory on it? No, you don't.
No. Just their attitude, yeah. Kind of what you said, yeah.
I believe it's this. So one day then came to Jesus, the mother of Zebedee's children with her sons, worshiping him and desiring a certain thing of him. And he said unto her, what wilt thou? Or what do you need? What do you want? She says unto him, grant that these my two sons may sit, the one on the right hand and the other on your left hand in your kingdom. And I believe it was this day that they received the name, the Sons of Thunder. The Bible kind of writes it nicely, but I believe that their mom, when she found out that her two sons were rolling with Jesus and she handpicked them, and she was they were mama's boys. She was not gonna let anybody. She was the mom that in school, like, the teacher's always wrong, her kids never did any homework, they were beating up other kids, but it was always their kids were getting picked on. We need to move schools because my kids are getting picked on. Or you need to do something for my kids.
Enabler.
Yes, this was her. And so finally they get selected by Jesus, and she comes up and same thing. Jesus, I want that my two boys here, they're going to sit on your left hand and on your right hand. Ooh, ooh, ooh. and I mean, but she was a big woman. And
verse 33.
she was a big woman. She came thundering in. It was like the Jurassic Park, the little glass.
Yeah. The water.
And so she comes in trying to intimidate Jesus, but he holds his own, though. But from that moment on, Jesus was like, man, I'm gonna just call your mom Thunder. You guys, you're the sons of Thunder.
She was huge, a big lady. You can't believe it, how huge she was. She was bigger than my great-great-grandmother.
Yeah, I'll accept it because I've heard people infer their own interpretation to other parts of the Bible that don't have much explanation, like when Jesus writes on the ground. And for the woman who was caught in adultery, and they're trying like, hey, Jesus, what do you think? What should we do? This is what the law says. And then he's like right on the ground, and everybody has their own idea of what he writes, and they preach it like it's gospel, like you can read it, but you can't. You never know. No one ever knows. He could have been doing tic-tac-toes. He could have been, he could have been doing anything.
He was drawing a circle, pulling out his marbles.
Yeah. He was just putting 209, Lathrop, so. Well, that's what I do. Every time I'm on the beach, I write my name. I went to Hawaii and wrote 209 on the beach and took a picture of it.
That's tight.
Yeah, so I think Jesus loves 209. But anyways, yeah, in regard to that, the Sons of Thunder being because of their mom was a nice thunderous woman. Jesus said, okay, that's your mom right there? Y'all are the Sons of Thunder.
That's exactly how it happened. Oh boy. All right, how about this? Do us a favor. Do us a real solid. Mm-hmm. What do we have? You can like, that's great. You can subscribe, that's twice as good. You can share, that's 4 times as good. Yeah. Comment, that's we'll put that in 3 times as good. I like that too. That's awesome. But if you really want to do us a favor, if you ever see my wife or his wife on the www or outside the internet.
If you see my wife on the internet, let me know. She's strictly prohibited.
If you see them, just go up to them and say, thank you so much for allowing those boys to do a podcast. It's really changed my... it's really changed my life, and it's helped me through this quarantine, and it's strengthened my faith, and it's given me a smile, and it would mean so much to us if you would just encourage them to encourage us to keep going.
Which they have. When today when I was gonna come over here, I was gonna go in my closet and I got a bunch of button-down shirts, and my wife says, how about this shirt? She's like, you look better in black. I was like, oh, okay. So she's supporting it.
Yes.
But it is a sacrifice because we're here having fun, just having a good time. Especially right now. I think when things open up, it won't be as bad.
Yeah.
But now, because this is like something that we're doing, and they're allowing us to do it, I do appreciate it. But yeah, let them know. Hey, Sister Jamie.
And how about this? Next week, we'll plan on this. We'll bring them on the show, and we'll just do a little couple something, maybe a little Q&A, a little testimony, a little bit do's and don'ts, a little bit of we learned this along the way.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get that going.
Yeah. My wife's going to be on camera?
Yes.
So a couple years ago, we were in New York. They had a news team out there, and it was like a simple trivia challenge. And she was like, "Oh yeah, I know." And they asked her a question, and she's like, And the lady looked at her, like, "Okay." Oh boy. So we'll see. I know maybe she won't freeze up. Who knows? All right. Thank you guys. God bless. 1.